What is up, Ashton Maloney? I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Thanks for taking the time.
For sure. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, well, you've had a crazy, fun, and exciting spring and summer. So I'll ask you the question that I ask all my guests on the What's Up podcast is what are you all about right now?
Ooh. I'd say spinach smoothies right now. Like putting
Okay.
spinach in smoothies. That's what I'm on.
And what else do you put in the spinach smoothie?
Today we made one that was pineapple juice, coconut milk, pineapple, spinach, banana. It was fire.
That sounds so good. That's one thing that I love about the summer is making smoothies. So maybe I'll have to try yours. I got the ingredients, but just looking forward for the rest of the summer. I know school's coming up. It's going to be here before you know it. And you're doing your fifth year at Texas, which I'd love to get into later. But what else fun do you have going on this summer?
Just been hanging out in Austin. Came home for the weekends, or this week, I guess, and just chilling. Yeah, working out, getting ready
Good.
for the season.
Good. Well, you're already back, but I do want to take some time to congratulate you on the national championship because that is so awesome. It's something that no one can ever take away from you. So, what was it like to cap off your career on top or your season on top, really?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we've gone to that was our third national championship that we were playing for, and we lost the previous two. So just being able to finally complete our goal and just end up on top was truly like one of the greatest feelings.
Yeah, I bet. I actually lost two national championships back to back in college. So I totally know the feeling and just like there's a lot of time that goes on between when you lose that game and then when you have the opportunity to be back, right? So what fueled you and what fueled your team to get back there and win that game?
I think definitely just understanding what, like some of the girls weren't on that team last year that had lost the national championship. So just understanding that we're playing for each other and that we're not going to be in that same position that we were the previous year or 2 years prior to that. So just knowing that we have each other and that we have all the talent in the world to win a national championship. So just coming out here and competing and doing what we do.
It's incredible. And just that moment, winning and really understanding, oh my gosh, like we just did it. We're not playing a game tomorrow. Like we're done. Our season's done and we're on top. What was that, put it in slow motion moment for you when you guys realized that you were champions?
I've told like every person that's asked me that. I've been like, I blacked out on the last out. I had no idea what was happening, and I just remember celebrating with my teammates and realizing like we finally did it. We finally, set out or did what we set out to do the whole season. So it was just an incredible feeling.
Definitely. It's cool because you get to accomplish your goal, right? And a goal that you work so hard at. I mean, like it's not just practice. It's like the film, it's the workouts. It's what you're doing right now. And you're saying in your summer, in your off season, you're working out and you're training for your sport. So it's the best feeling in the world. But I do want to ask you about your Instagram swipe from the Natty because at the end there was a picture of like a little Jesus figurine, I think, hanging from the back of your ponytail or hat. So what's the story behind that?
I want to say we were playing LSU at home, and my coach just brought a tiny little Jesus in, and he had it on his clipboard, and he was doing his like charting and stuff. And after the game, he was like, "Does anyone need Jesus?" I was like, "I need Jesus." Like I had just gone like I think 0 for 4, and I was like, didn't have my best game, so I was like, "I need Jesus right now. Like I need to put him at the forefront of my game and understand like it's his will." I'm super into my faith and just like understanding that whatever's gonna happen is because of him and like his plan, and I just need to put my fear and my fa and my worries into him and just trust in that. And so I think the next week he had found so that was just like a regular one. The next week he found like the dangly one. I think it's in my backpack actually. I'll look.
That's
But
awesome.
he was out to dinner and he found one on the floor. And I was like, okay, well, can I wear it in my hair? And this was during the SEC tournament. And I kind of put it in there as a joke. And then we won that game. And so I was like, let me experiment a little bit. Didn't wear it the next game. We got killed by
Oh.
Texas A&M. And then I wore it for the entire postseason and we ended up winning the whole thing. So maybe it'll be back next year, probably.
Such a fun story. And yes, like obviously, like that's a little figurine, but I think there's like power in knowing, like as a, physical reminder, like of who's with you. There was times throughout my college career when I would just keep my Bible in my bag. There were some days I didn't even open it. The thing was heavy. I was lugging it around, but I just
Yeah.
kept it with me because I felt like a source of power, truthfully, and like protection. And I think that's so cool that you literally brought that onto the softball field. Did anybody anybody ask you about it? It's like, hey, like, did you mean to do that?
I don't think anybody realized. My teammates all knew it was there, and like my first base coach would like touch my head whenever we were playing bad. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I just need some Jesus right now," stuff like that. But I don't think anybody from the other teams really realized.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that your coach was like, "Hey, I need some of that. I need some of that," because it's kind of too like the hope with some Christian clothing, right? People hope that
Yeah.
like it sparks conversation about faith and about the Lord. But that's incredible, and I do want to just s- dive into just the journey because that is a climb, right, to get there. And social media is going to see those, Jesus on the back of the hat and the celebration and the confetti and probably the world tour that you're on right now, but you don't see the blood and the sweat and the tears, like literally, right, throughout that climb. So, what was maybe the most challenging part of just getting to the last game that you could possibly play in this season?
Oh, I mean, I think the most challenging thing was just like we had to come together as a team. I mentioned like we got killed in the SEC tournament. We lost 14-2, I think. So we were just, and then the next week we started our postseason. So we were starting with regionals and super regionals and stuff like that. So it was like, how can we change what just happened and transition into a team that's going to win like a national championship? So that was really tough for our team, but luckily we really came together after that SEC tournament, and we obviously we did the thing. So
You did the thing. That's incredible. And yeah, it is hard to, lose in the conference tournament. Like I've definitely lost in the conference tournament before. And it's like, shoot, that was kind of like a test run in a sense for what the national championship might be. Even in all things, in your prep, in your game plan, in the team that you're probably going to see again, right, in the national championship. So that is a hard defeat, but it's so cool that you guys were able to get back on top. But I think what's so fun for me to see with college softball is just the fan base. Like you guys are playing on a huge stage. It is so exciting and fun to watch. And I didn't really grow up playing softball, but it's fun for me just to be a fan of it because of the energy that's around it. But the stakes are also really high, right? The more attention you have, it means the stakes are really high. So how do you, ground yourself in game when the game's on the line and you have a lot of nerves and you're in the under the brightest lights?
are you familiar with the Man in the Arena?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was like a huge theme. It's been a huge theme since I've been at Texas, and just understanding that it's about the people that are on the field and the people that are competing rather than any of the outside noise. So just centering ourselves with my teammates, and like if I'm feeling out of it, like I'll look over at our center fielder, Caden, and I'll be like, "Hey, like I got you, like 2 outs or whatever I'm saying," but just like talking to my teammates and just staying within the team rather than focusing on outside noise.
Yeah, that's good. It's cool that you're able to have that dialogue. But what's a dialogue like in the outfield, right? Because you're not up close right by the batter and I always wonder like what are you doing out there? What are you thinking about? What keeps you focused?
Uh, I can't say I'm the most focused. That would be a lie. But I don't know. I can't really talk to anyone because I'm, at least 100 feet away from everybody else. So I'm kind of just out there alone. Sometimes I'll just, hey, we got 2 outs, whatever. Or like, and if we're in like a tense situation, I'll be like talking more. But sometimes I'm just looking around. Sometimes I'm just chilling out there.
Well, you got Jesus with you, right? On the back of your head. So that's a good thing. But I'd love to learn just about growing up and playing softball because you don't just magically end up on the number one team in the country. So when did you know that softball was going to be the thing that you pursued?
Ooh, so. I had to play, I played t-ball and my dad told me like you have to play t-ball if you want to play soccer. So I didn't even want to play softball. But I was really good at it and I played soccer up until high school. I like till I graduated high school and stuff like that, but that was always like what I wanted to do, but I was always better at softball. So that's what I ended up pursuing and thankfully I did. But um I think around like my freshman year, that's when I was really like, okay, softball is like what I'm gonna do and what's gonna pay like get me to college and what's gonna like get me to where I want to be. So,
Yeah, that's cool. I know it's funny when you grow up, like I definitely thought I was gonna go soccer because everybody's doing soccer, but it's cool how the Lord just, makes everyone's unique path because
mm,
lacrosse was never something that I was number one interested in because I never really saw it, but number two, like thought that I'd be any good because I didn't like grow up playing it. And so it's just cool to see how that all works out. And yeah, like playing a college sport, like I think playing basketball or volleyball would have been like awesome and I would have loved that too. But like where like what has the Lord gifted you in? And like those were two sports I was not gifted in, you know? So it's cool to just see how everyone's path shakes out. But I'd love to just ask a question for maybe the younger girls that are listening and want to be in your shoes and in your cleats someday. Is there a specific drill or maybe form of cross training or other sport that you played growing up or that you still do that you feel like has really impacted your softball experience and career uniquely?
Ooh. So I played soccer and basketball and I ran on track. And then I was also playing softball and I was doing all of that. Um, I think honestly, just not specializing and just being able to develop skills that you might not get from just softball and being able to like in soccer, I'm building endurance, I'm building speed. In basketball, I'm building like same things there that you're not really getting in softball. Like it's I'll put it out there. We don't run that much. It's not that bad. But I think just being able to play other sports and just be able to be like a team leader in those sports and be able to build leadership qualities or teamwork qualities and stuff like that. And outside sports has really helped me in what I want to do with softball. So
That's good. That's important, right? And also just like I think sports IQ, just to go
yeah.
off of that, like yeah, leadership, but also like sports IQ. I mean, there are things that I took from my basketball days that helped me in lacrosse. Like, how do you guys know? If I didn't play basketball, I don't know what the heck I'd be doing in lacrosse. So I love the crossover, and I think it's so important because nowadays it seems like clubs and different, maybe even some parents are like you have to specialize in one thing, where I think really like you don't. But it's funny. Did you ever do gymnastics growing up?
No, I never
Okay,
did any like dance or gymnastics or anything like
well,
that.
Ashton, I saw a really sick media day photo from you doing a handstand with one hand. So I need an explanation because how did you, number one, think to do this? Because before you do your media day, you
Oh
only
yeah.
get four throughout your career. It's a huge deal. Like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do? What are my props? How am I going to post? So how did you end up doing this crazy move?
Oh, so I saw like I think an acro girl from Oregon do it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. I can't be that hard. It was hard.
It looked hard.
Um, but I'm always like doing handstands in the weight room, and I'm always messing around and like I don't know. I've always been pretty flexible. I've always been pretty I don't know acro-ish, but
Well, I had to ask you about that because I saw it. I was like, that is really impressive. And, I definitely didn't go too much on the creative side for media day photos, but they are a big deal. And I love that. That has to be one of my top three picks that I've ever seen. But I'd love to ask you a little bit more about Texas softball off the field because I know you're not just, on the field players, you're humans too. So do you guys have any fun traditions or fun things that you guys do off the field as a team?
ooh, we love to go to the football games and like we like to go to other sports games and just support them. Ooh, we love Chili's. Texas
Okay.
football.
Chili's is the place to go.
Well, some of my teammates will strongly disagree, but me personally, and a lot of my teammates like Chili's. So,
That's so fun.
um,
What's your Chili's go-to order?
oh, I get a chicken sandwich from a Mexican restaurant, so whatever.
Hey, that's okay. I was ordering sushi when I lived in Indiana, so like I can't I have nothing to stand on.
You know, it's fine.
That's so fun. I love knowing kind of what people are up to on their campuses. And Texas is a school that I've never been to, so I'd love to come and check it out sometime. But just
Austin,
with the what'd you say?
Austin is very different than any place you've ever been, probably. It's a very cool city and you need to visit.
Okay, good. Okay, that's gonna be next on my bucket list. But I'd love to just ask you a little bit of the demands of just being a college athlete. Like take out the fact that you're competing at the literal highest level ever for your sport and in the College World Series, but just the demands of like wanting to go to Chili's and have fun and doing well in school and having a social life and also balancing, your priority in your sport and your faith. So how do you stay grounded, throughout what is a really chaotic school year and softball year?
I think just having a strong support system. My teammates were all in the same thing together. I live with three other girls, so like understanding like they're here for me, I'm here for them. Um, and like the transition, you're not doing it alone. So just and then also like accountability from your teammates. Like I have a couple of teammates that go to church with me as well. So like if I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going to church today, which happens to everyone, like that's the days that you need to go even more because the Lord is calling you those days. And so just understanding like, okay, well, my teammates are gonna be there. I need to be there for them too. And like that helps us grow our bond, like not only on the field, but off the field as well.
That's awesome. I love that you said that and just the impact that it has on the field, right? But like even throughout life, because softball doesn't last forever, right? Like
Yeah.
your sports career doesn't last forever. And those relationships that you make and like trusting each other and holding each other accountable in those ways, like then it's going to help you, number one, on the field. But those are relationships you'll have, for the rest of your life. And then you can
Yeah.
call on those girls, for the hard things. And I'm still doing that with teammates and even, women from other sports teams that I was at Boston College with that maybe I didn't see them often, but like we'd go to church together or we'd be in Bible study together. And those were the girls that, I'm going to for advice and I'm going to in times of need and are holding me accountable in ways too. But has there been maybe a specific person on campus at Texas or maybe just in your life generally who has really poured into you spiritually?
We have so me and three of my other teammates are doing discipleship. So we're doing that with a woman at the University of Texas. She works with the UCC, the University Catholic Center. Her name's Claire. Shout out Claire. Claire's awesome. And she has just poured into us over this past year so much. She cares so deeply about us and like she's really guiding us in our faith and just being able to help us to be able to spread the gospel to like our teammates and other athletes as well. So that's been really rewarding experience.
That's awesome. It's so cool that people like do that as a job, or even just volunteering. Like it's like, wow, thank you for taking the time to like pour into me that way because you're trying to pour into your teammates and you're trying to pour into your friends at school and into your sport as well. And so if you're not getting filled up, if you're not learning, like you can kind of run dry, right? You can kind of get burnt out. So that's awesome. And what would you just say? Because there's probably like a million other things you could be doing instead of like being discipled and like taking time out of your crazy busy schedule to do that. So like why is that important to you and what maybe is like the impact that you feel like it helps you while at Texas?
I think it just helps me build the bond with my teammates and just having that core group of like, if I have an issue, I know I can go to certain people and like they're there for me. But it's also growing me closer to the Lord, which ultimately is who I go to for every single problem and every single decision in my life. So just understanding that I have that like outlet and it's always there for me has been really important for me to learn.
That's good. It's so cool that it's like available to you as well. In some places it's like you kind of got to figure it out yourself, right? And like, but it's cool that you're surrounded in that way. And I know your career at Texas is not over. You got one more year to get another ring on the hand. But I'd love to ask you just like zooming out over these last 4 years, what has the Lord maybe taught you, or what have you learned through softball that the Lord has really grown you in ways that maybe you didn't know coming in as a freshman?
Coming in as a freshman, I had a torn ACL. I tore it like 2 weeks before I got to campus, maybe. And so I had no softball that year at all. And one of my, I felt very disconnected from my team, felt like I had lost a large part of my identity. But at the end of the December, so start of second semester freshman year, um, a girl came into our squad and she just like poured the Lord into me and brought me back to who I was and who I want to be. And I think without her or without, Jesus in my life that year, I would not be here today, playing this game still. So, I mean, it has been the most rewarding feeling is just finding the Lord and understanding that my identity is in Christ and not within my game.
That's powerful. That's so cool that you were able to have someone like that in a tough journey and a tough season. I mean, I've never torn my ACL, but I've been super close to people who have multiple times, my sister being one of them. And man, like that is hard. So, like, I just commend you for being able to overcome that, right? And I just love to ask you because I know a lot of athletes go through injuries and a lot of times, severe ones like the ACL. What did you like? Why did you keep your eyes on the Lord and keep your eyes up? Because if you didn't, you probably wouldn't have a national championship ring. So, like, what propelled you throughout that, difficult season sidelined?
I think just the thought that like it happened for a reason. He has a plan for whatever he wants me to do. Obviously I'm playing a fifth year. Maybe I haven't found out what that plan is yet, but I know that it happened for a reason and I just trust in what his plan is and his will.
Yeah. Well, you did get that fifth year, so that's exciting. So, what do you, maybe on or off the field? What are you looking forward to in this fifth year at Texas?
I think this fifth year, been calling it my bonus year. Just like just being grateful for what I'm gonna have this year, and just that I'm not even technically supposed to be here right now. Like I'm not playing softball, so just enjoying every moment of it and just pouring into my teammates and hopefully winning another national championship.
I love that. I love the bonus year. I think we called our fifth years like super seniors. So
Yeah.
I wonder what title you're going to get. Have they said anything? Do you have any inkling?
We had a sixth year this year and we called her Mima, and I'm hoping I'm not gonna get called Grandma or Mima or something like that. But
All right,
we'll
we'll call
see.
you super senior.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Amazing Ashton. They'll figure it out. They'll give you a good name. Well, Ashton,
Yeah.
I'll ask you one more question to wrap it up. And before games, do you wear headphones or no headphones?
Oh, depends. Are we home or away? Because if I'm on the bus, I'll put some headphones in. But if we're home, like I'm talking to
You're
my
not
team.
doing it? Okay, so that's good to know because some people, I've only actually heard one other person say that they switched it up for home or away games. So that's
Yeah.
good. Is there a specific song or type of genre you got to listen to?
I like dad rock, like, what your dad listens to growing up.
Okay.
That's what I'm listening to before a game.
I love it. Well, that is cool to know. You never know. So now we know Ashton's listening to you in her headphones before games. But seriously, Ashton, like, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your heart. Cannot wait to see you when you get the ring. So maybe we'll have to do another podcast. So you can show us the new bling that you have. And we're cheering you on the podcast.
Thank you. Do the horns up again. I hope the
Oh, yeah.
fans.
Horns up. There we
Where's...
go.
Oh, they didn't do it
Woo.
again.
Hook 'em. Three,
Oh, there
two.
it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. Hook 'em. All right. Annabelle's going crazy. I guess I got to get to Texas. That's my sign. Well, seriously, Ashton, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, and we're cheering you on.
Thanks for having me.